coming up. So let us take you through. If there are any questions anytime, you can put them in the chat and we can open up the mic and you can ask any questions anytime. So please do that. For now, we just go through the different topics. Yeah, then let's see how it goes. So the couple of topics for today, and it's a lot of 2.0 that we call it, DriveMate 2.0, including the support that is new, pricing, statements, payouts, new pickup and drop-off process verification, terms and conditions, and the roadmap. So all the new things that we're going to do. Wait a second. First of all, what is DriveMate 2.0? Just for to provide some clarity again, what we want to do. One is that when we look at pricing, we are revamping the pricing is as per the old UCS model in a way, duration and distance-based pricing. That is the key thing that we're going to change. We're going to automate certain things when it comes to late returns or mileage. When we want to charge people and pay you out, it will all be automated based on the GPS devices in the car. Enhanced pickup and drop-off process, including a re-verification that we do, automated acceptance. So that is number 3. Monthly payouts. So instead of payouts after every trip, where maybe reconciling all the payments is a challenge, we are working on monthly payouts. And so that is going to happen. Also a new support system or a ticketing system. That is one thing where we, in the last couple of weeks, and I would say maybe even months, had a bit of a challenge where we have been later than what you can expect from us with, let's say, resolving certain disputes that seemed to be pretty easy. But one thing that we had to do is to overhaul the ticketing system, where it also becomes very clear for everyone what the status is of each of the different steps, let's say, of your dispute, right? And that means everything that is raised will receive a ticket, and we are going to close those tickets, and we can do it much faster. So those are the 5 things that cover what DriveMate 2.0 really is. Now, when we talk about timing, there's a couple of things that went live. One is support 2.0, and that means the ticketing system that we just talked about. We brought that live, and that means we let's say the easiest way to explain is what we used to do until last Wednesday. We went live with it. What we used to do is that when you communicated with us, chatted with us on the app or on the website, or if you send us emails, then there was a conversation that started with one of our customer service people, and then they could create a ticket. If there are multiple issues with one trip, they created one ticket, and that's basically how they did. And then depending on which ones we resolved last of these of all these different disputes in one ticket, then the ticket was going to be closed. And that means you also had to, or did, follow up, like what's happening with this and that, and it's unclear what the ticket number is. Right now, what's happening is that for everything that you raise in the app, on the chat, WhatsApp, text message, email, a ticket will be created with a number, and then we can work on each of these. The second thing is, obviously, we have the invoices with ABN for guests and hosts. What we're going to do right now is launch the full thing with the pricing that we just talked about as DriveMate 2.0. December 12th of the 12th, we'll launch it. Now, there's one thing is we are going to launch it, and that means we ask for approval from on the App Store and the Google Play Store. So that means we hope that it also gets approved straight away, and that we can do this 12th, but it will be around the 12th. So the 12th is what we expect right now that we can launch. We will ask for approval earlier, but in the end, that's something that we don't have in our own hands when Apple releases it. we'll announce all these things with EDMs and on our socials. Monthly statements will be by the end of December for all the previous months. So all the statements for each of the months you will get by the end of December. New terms and conditions, email to all hosts. And basically, that is not that everything is going to change, but certain things will reflect the new pricing system, obviously, right? So we need to make some changes, and that means we'll email them all to you as well. And that means also that will also be updated in the rental agreement, which is available for the guests. Now, as mentioned, support 2.0. And by the way, Ben, maybe if you could check or Joel, if there are any questions that are related to this, then we can try to take them, and otherwise we'll take that later. But for now, I'll just continue like this. So support 2.0, as said, we brought that live last week. We did training in the Philippines last week as well. What we expect is that it will fast track the current and future issues, because for everything there is a ticket right now. We have created a YouTube video as well, or a how-to video on YouTube, so we can share that and you can see how that really works. What is important that we'd like to ask you is to lodge new issues in the chat where you can. So you can also track in the app. You can track your tickets. If you do it by email, that's also fine. We will, when we receive an email in our DriveMate email inbox, we will automatically create a ticket, goes to the right team. So if it's something that is related to hardware devices, it will go to the team that works on hardware devices. If it is about a car returned dirty, then also it will go to the right team to resolve that. So that is what will happen. Also, the ticket number that is there will be created, and you can track that in the app where you are. So that means one thing that we hope that will happen is that you don't have to keep calling us or emailing us like, what is the status here or there, because you can see that in the app, right? That's basically what we'd like you to do, or on the web when you're logged in. One other request is that to not resubmit previous issues. Obviously, if there is a previous issue or a similar issue that you have already raised, we will merge the tickets. But it's just a bit of extra work that we need to check them out. If you already have a ticket created for something, you can just follow that number, check the status in the app or on the web. DriveMate 2.0 pricing. Now, as said, we shared this before, so we don't have to share too many things here. But the new pricing, which will then also go live on the 12th of December, is based on what Uber used to do. It's distance and duration, and the distance is including fuel. So that means you don't need to report any excess mileage, because if people drive more, they get charged more and you get paid more. You also don't have to dispute for fuel anymore. If a guest did fill themselves, and then they can submit their receipt, same as how it was with Uber, and that will be deducted from your earnings. Late returns will be handled automatically. So what you can do as a host, you can set your rates, see if you want to update your rates, or if you want to keep it this way, or basically you will also earn from the distance right now. And there's also a cap on the hourly rate. So you can set a daily rate, you can set an hourly rate. It cannot be that an hourly rate times 24, that it will be more costly than the daily rate. So in the end, we will cap it at the daily rate that you have within 24 hours. Now, from a kilometer charge point of view, you can choose between 35, 45, 55 cents, and DriveMate keeps 9 cents. So by default, we've set it at 45 cents. But you as a host right now, you could change it if you like.
Two questions around this, that one's just been asked in the chat and one was asked earlier. The earlier question was, what happens if someone drives for 24 hours and 2 hours? Is that billed as 26 hours or is that billed as 2 days?
26 hours.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That is.
Charged at 26 hours.
Yes. Yeah. If they book it beforehand, So this is always how it goes. So if people book beforehand, like for 26 hours, they will be charged for 2 days as duration. They will be charged for 2 days as duration, and that's how it goes. If somebody booked for 24 hours and they extend, then those 2 hours extension will be charged as an hourly rating. That's right now how that goes. So there can be a discrepancy there.
Okay. Question from Andrew, which actually I'm going to answer. Andrew says, with regards to the new 2.0 pricing, many of us had already updated our pricing, adding the per kilometer charge and reducing the day rate accordingly. Now, Andrew, I understand why you might have done that, and apologies if it wasn't clear, but any trips booked up until, call it midnight on the 12th of the 12th, will be charged per the current system. The kilometer rate won't apply, but the guests will still have to pay for their fuel. So if you dropped your day rate and you've got some bookings, any bookings this week, whilst they're coming at a slightly lower day rate, that guest will still have to pay for their fuel. They won't be charged the per kilometer. They will be charged for any fuel that they've used. So look, apologies if that wasn't clear. What we would suggest to hosts is don't change your day rate yet, or change it back. And then as soon as you see the announcement from us that the new system is live, have your new rates ready to drop in, because any bookings made from that moment forwards will use the new day rate and the cost per kilometer.
Yeah, so but it also means that every trip that is booked before the 12th, even if the trip happens after the time, still is as per the current system.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so yes, the recommendation is you can change now, but the recommendation is wait until the announcement is there. If you're going to change your daily rate, then you'll get it afterwards. Trip modification on pricing. What does that mean? Now, one is people can still extend trips, and we have made some fixes on the trip extensions. Now it's at the moment, and by the way, this has not changed. In our system, you can modify trips, so you can change the start trip or the end of the trip. You can change that, but it cannot be shorter. You can return the car earlier for sure, but if you've booked for 3 days, then it's 3 days. You cannot make it 2 days before the trip right now in our system. One thing is what we have heard, of course, a couple of times is, can we automate host approvals? Yes, we can. And right now there's also the case for cars that have instant booking. So if you have instant booking on, we also, with a trip change or modification, we'll automatically approve it for you. If you don't have instant booking on, then you as a host, you still need to accept a request. Obviously, if people want to make changes or want to extend the trip, they can only do it if the calendar is free for the car. If it isn't, then they can't do it. So the late return charges will be automated from 12/12, let's say. So basically, we just look at what is the listed price, what's the late duration, and then we'll see. So for example, if the car is returned 5 hours late, then we'll charge the guest for five hours, and the fees and processing fees, and we pay you out for those 5 hours what it would normally be. For kilometers, of course, you don't have to worry about it. It's based on the GPS that we have in the car. So therefore, it's still extremely important that if you do not have a GPS, our GPS yet, to do that, and that means going from the Just Mates plan to the Good Mates plan, it's important, because that's the only way this system can work automatically, right? And that's basically what we need. The guest will be charged for those kilometers, and you get paid. Now, from a fuel point of view, this is also very similar to what you're used to with Uber. I mean, there's a minimum of 25% that the guest needs to return the car with. That is number one. And if they don't, they will be penalized. So we try to encourage people to fill it up, submit their receipt, and that's how we do. So guests need to pay themselves, use their own. They want to be reimbursed, then that means they must submit the receipt. We are going to check it. We automatically check it, reflect certain things if it is strange in the system. So if maybe a location is very weird, or maybe the timing of the receipt is not in line with the timing of the trip, we'll check that, and if it's valid, then that will be paid out to the guest account, and that's basically how we do. And what you will see is, as a host, on the monthly statement, you'll see how many reimbursements for fuel were made, because that will be deducted from your earnings. The statements and the payouts 2.0. So the monthly statements live. As I said, in December, you'll have your first full tax compliant monthly statement. We'll pay that by Jan 9th. But by end of December, you'll always already see all these statements from the previous months that will be available. So yeah, that's how it goes. So what it means is, until December 12th, your trips will still be paid out after every trip. So what we'll do for December, we'll just see, okay, how much have you had before December 12th that was already paid out? How much is the total for December that you're going to earn? And then we deduct that what you've already have received, let's say, before December 12th, and then you'll receive your total amount. So that is what's going to happen. So we'll look at the total statement for December, all the trips before and after December 12th, but everything before December 12th, you have already been paid for then. So we will deduct it so that you can see how much you were supposed to get paid and how much you still will be paid. Now what we do is, monthly payers will be processed no later than the 7th business day. And that is the same as what it was with Uber. There will be comprehensive earnings statement. So there's a couple of things that are on the statement, and maybe one thing that we can do is we can share how such a statement will look like, but by the end of December, you'll see it anyway. There's things like the summary of all the trips that you've done, or that were done with your car or cars, what the distance charges are, the fuel reimbursements, referral bonuses, and other earnings that you have. That is basically what we'll share with you on the statement, first one in December for all the previous months. Now, one other very big thing for DriveMate 2.0 is an enhanced pickup and drop-off process. So one thing that we feel is going to help is a re-verification of people, right? And re-identification of people when they have keyless access. Of course, if they don't have keyless access, you hand over the key, then you as a person, you need to do it yourself to check if that's the same person. But otherwise, what we're doing is, in the app, people just need to take a selfie. We see if it's the same person as the person that signed up, basically that made that booking. And if it's not the case, we don't give the key. So they cannot access a key, or could be lockbox code, or could be auto plug. They will not get access to the car. It is not the same person. So that is one thing that should improve things with wrong people picking up the car. So that's important. But if you do that for a physical key handover, it's just as it always has been, is you need to check if it's the same person. And you need to check the license, the driving license and the ID of the person, and see if it's the same as the person booking your car. So that is basically what it is. From a verifications point of view, we also have right now a dedicated team that is focusing on verification, so that needs to speed up as well. Most of the time it's going pretty well, by the way, with verifications, but in certain times of the day it's a bit slower. Right now, dedicated team that's going to help there as well. Now, terms and conditions 2.0. Yeah, certain things we just need to align with. I mean, new terms from a fuel policy point of view, or when we talk about mileage, we need to just check that that is in line with the new pricing model. So yeah, that's one thing that we've updated. But there are also some other things that we've done. Like for example, if we look at the damage policy, we have just made it a bit more specific on certain aspects. When do things get paid and when do they not get paid, and so on and so forth. So we have been a bit clearer on that wear and tear. So what we'll do is we'll email all those terms and conditions also on before the 12th of the 12th, so you can see them. But basically the general thing is it is an update on what we are going to do with pricing and distance. What is all required and what are the host responsibilities when it comes to damage and other kind of disputes. That's basically the main thing. And then there is a roadmap. Now we have certainly in November done a lot of things, and DriveMate 2.0 is such a big project because yeah, on the surface you would think, okay, different pricing, collaborative charging, monthly payments, some re-verifications. That's all okay. And of course it is, but it's a lot of work to make sure that all these different things are working in tandem, and we are testing this. It takes a bit of work. 12th December it's going live. So we're pretty happy with where we are right now from DriveMate 2.0 launch point of view. 12th December, that's when D-Day is. When we look at the things that we did in November is the improved trip extensions that we have worked with. There were different bugs at different times, and they've been resolved. So right now, hopefully everything is fine. If there are still certain things, then just let us know. We're still working on certain things when it comes to calendar management for multiple cars, Redbook integration. We have listed down what we need to do there. That's going to go live, but right now that's where we stand. Most important thing right now is DriveMate 2.0 with the pricing and the monthly statements. That's going to happen 12th of December, and then we'll yeah, we see how we can make this work. We expect that even though in the system we have done everything and it seems to be really good, and of course you do your quality checks there, that there might be certain things that pop up, and we'll find out once it's live. Then we can try to work in the next week or so to resolve all those issues if there are certain. And yeah, that's basically where we stand. So that's everything that I wanted to share for now, and then maybe just go into some questions and answers or questions that we've seen. Then do you have are there any other questions?
Joel's actually going to read out the questions to you, Dirk Young, so I have to switch my camera off for a little while.
Yeah.
Loads
Sure.
of questions, which
Tap
we
me in.
knew.
Yep.
We're not going to wrap at 7, guys. We're going to go a little bit longer if we need to.
We've been trying to answer the ones, but there's some that I haven't been sure of, so I'll bring them to you, Dirk-Jan. One of them was Michael is asking if you can raise a ticket on the app and follow up and add to that using email.
Yes, you can. But follow up, yeah. So follow up, you can always do, right? You can always follow up. But what we mean by, so there's two different ways of following up. Following up to find out what is the status of it. We can do in the app. You can see in the app the different steps until completion. Let's say you can see where we are with that. So that's one thing. If you mean following up, like, oh, I want to provide additional proof or those kind of things, yes, you can email it. As long as what's important, just add
the ticket number or ticket ID.
Ticket number, then we know where to add it to. That is, I think, important. We just want to keep it in one place. So we have a ticket for fuel, or we have a ticket for cleanliness, or those type of things. Then just add the ticket number and or ticket ID, and we can add it there.
Okay, the next one from Sandy is, what time frame do you estimate from the trip end for each booking to be finalized and billing visible to the host?
Yeah, so there's for us is two so number one is with the payments point of view, we said we pay once per month, right? So it's a monthly payout, so you just get paid per month, and so before the seventh working day of the next month, we will have everything reconciled, and that means also paid out on that time. So that's how it should be. So I think that would probably answer most of the questions there. What the
Yep.
whole idea for resolutions and what we have, and I mean everything excluding things like damage. Our own, let's say, commitment there is 2 days. Now we are far from that, as you know, and that means right now with this ticketing system that is coming, we need to we right now tickets are being created for everything, right? Because we have many more tickets than otherwise, because we create tickets for everything with an own ticket ID. Right now we are trying to with this new ticketing system to get that under control. Then the 2 days what we aim for, and for damages, yeah, that can take longer. That would normally say should be 14 days. What we expect, but it can be a more complicated case depending on what the damage is. So yeah, we get a good hang of it when we have these things a bit further in December and in January. But from a payout point of view, what happens in December should be paid out in January, maybe except for damage, depending on when it happens in December.
Yep. Okay. Nguyen has asked about something that was mentioned. I think I was working on something else at this time, so I'm not sure. It says reimbursed to the guest's account as credit. Are they able to get it back in their bank account? Is this talking about referrals or?
If it's about referrals, yes, that's credited to their so they get credits where they can drive with. For fuel, they just get it paid.
Yeah, okay. I think, yep. Okay. And then Michael Pattinson has said the referral bonuses will be car specific, question mark.
Yeah, so referral bonuses, and you mean if you refer a host, or you mean refer a guest? I assume you mean refer a host.
Maybe Michael, if we could get you to clarify that one. And Sandy's asked, moving forward with tolls, will tolls be reimbursed as a lump sum rather than the small reimbursements? Additionally, will this reimbursement be added to the monthly payment or paid out separately?
No, it's back as part of the payments for the monthly payment. So basically, if you have your tolls for December, all the tolls will then be but it will be lumped and paid out in January for the December payments.
Yep. Okay. Ramir has said add the same ticket number on the email subject, and yep, that's what we were saying before.
Yes.
Will we be able to see our account accruing progressively during the month ahead of your statement? So like as.
Yeah, we have yes, yeah, but not in a statement form. But we have host sorry, analytics as well in the app. See what the earnings are. Actually, it looks pretty similar to maybe not. Yeah, it's similar to Turo in a way on how they've done it. So how many bookings have been completed? How much is the earnings that you have really earned, and how much is forecast earnings based on trips that are booked but not yet completed? That is what's being shown. You can see it at any point in time in the app.
And we've got sorry, say again, Joken?
Do you know where to find it in the app, or otherwise we can
I think
create a video and share it?
Yep. There's the Insights tab, and there's also the Payments Payouts section. So you're saying the accrual will happen in the Insights tab mostly, or?
Sorry, can you say that again, Joe?
I think most of the hosts have been looking at payments and payouts in the the payment slash payouts little like icon in the host area. But are you saying it'll be in the Insights tab for the month, it'll accrue there?
Yes. Yeah, but so the payment, yes. But the statement right now for, let's say, for December, and also the payout, you will receive on the 7th working day of Jan. But also end of December, you will already see all the earnings, let's say, for the previous month. So if you want to look at November or at October, September, you can have a look, and that's where it shows on the statement.
Yep. Okay, gotcha. Michael's clarified. So he was saying he's wondering if he can see the credits, because when a referral happens, when a successful referral happens, you get the credit, but you don't know which borrower, which car those credits came from. So he's wondering if that detail could be added at all.
Yes, and yeah, one thing let me check. One thing, we are going to put the referral earnings, let's say, in your statement as well, in the monthly statement. But whether that is, let's say, $10, or you get $25 for John and 25 for Mary. I don't know if we put that name by name for all the referrals. Let me check that one. I don't know if any of Jake or Joel, if you've seen that by any chance.
I don't think we do. There's no, but when a successful referral happens, you do see who did that. You just don't see which car. So you only know that it's going to happen if that referral books your own car. If that makes sense.
Yes, but if that referral, in the end, if that referral booked someone else's car, you still get your referral bonus, right? So
Yeah,
if somebody rents my car, and Michael, you have referred that person, you will earn the money for the person that booked my car in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess, Michael, if you're interested to know who the referral came from, you should be receiving emails about that, saying like, congratulations, your $50 is on the way because of this borrower. It won't say which car they borrowed or stuff like that, but yeah, let's move on. My car is based in a rural town near to the Gold Coast, but not on the Gold Coast. I have had no bookings at all. So can you guys include me in guest searches for the Gold Coast?
I saw that message actually online. I think this is yeah, we need to check for the specific car. I don't know, but this is something from a marketing point of view that we can have a look at. I don't know.
I think this has to do mostly with the way that our searches are currently set up. Based on where people search from, it's a radius from there, which means that you must be a decent radius away from where the search is happening. So
yeah, I think I looked at, I'm going to jump in there, Joel. I think I looked at this listing yesterday, and it's a great car, great listing. We can't override the search algorithm, and we worked really hard to get it based on proximity, which is what most people ask for. But one thing that you might consider, and obviously this doesn't work for every car and every host, but you might consider locating the car closer to the Gold Coast, so away from your home, with an auto plug, at a location closer to Gold Coast.
Yeah, or get people around you that need to that basically you market it in that sense to people around you. So right now, most of the searches, they are coming from the Gold Coast or from Brisbane, and yeah, that is, so they will look for cars that are near them. That's right now it is. Maybe from an emailer's point of view, yeah, in the end, you still want to provide relevant cars to people. So if people are searching for Gold Coast, yeah, that's basically where they want to have a car. So it's not the easiest thing in that sense, but one thing could be, and I don't know if we can help there as well with certain marketing tools that we have to see if there are people in the area where you are that are looking to rent a car.
Yeah, this particular host I know has done some local area marketing. Look, it's a hard one, guys. Location of cars is going to be one of the things that determines their success. And that's not something that we can override, really. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, we try to create demand, as much demand as possible. But yeah, the location is one of the sort of fixed attributes of a car, unless you are able to have it based at a slightly different location. But look, we'll keep thinking about it. It's a really good question, and there will be hundreds of other cars, hundreds of other great cars in a similar situation. So look, we take that on board, even though we don't have all the answers right now.
Yeah. Short term, if you do a search from the Gold Coast and you can get an idea of like where that cutoff is, you could consider moving the car just that interim point so that you're still actually showing up on the searches. But maybe you can still facilitate key handover if that's what you want to be doing.
Yeah. So we just
Faisal
need
has
to know
asked,
where the radius
yeah.
is, right?
Yeah. Faisal has asked, would the issues related to the trips being completed before the car is returned or late returns be resolved in this release?
Good question.
Sorry, if we know beforehand. So sorry, can you say it again? If we know
So
beforehand.
he's asking
he
if the car can be
Trip,
marked returned if it hasn't been returned.
Yes, it can be. It can be. I mean, somebody can try to drop off in the system, but there are two variables really important, and that is the time and is the location. So is it in the home zone, yes or no? When it can be done, but people. So what cannot be done, and that is that if somebody is very far away from the home zone and then drops it off in the system, that is not possible. But if somebody is in the home zone, they can drop that off. Then we need to lock the car, and then it needs to end if let's say it's a keyless handover car. So yeah, it's right now in theory it's still possible, but from a home zone point of view, home zone and timing, those are the two variables that we look at to be able to drop off.
Yep. Okay. Naril has said, have you increased the number of people dealing with security issues? The status in the app is a good idea, but if there hasn't been an update, the status doesn't help much. So she's been waiting 9 days for action on a car that hasn't been returned.
Yeah. So yeah. So okay, there are different steps, obviously, right? It's not just step one is we're investigating, and step two, yes, it's completed. There are multiple steps in this. So also from a late returns, it's also what actions we take. We'll show that. But if there's something specific, I mean 9 days that the car is not there, that is of course not great. Have you been in touch with our team, with the security team on this, or is there nothing clear about a specific case? Because we want to look, of course, at those specific cases, but not now in this call to look at the specific case. But maybe it's good to share that, then we can have a look where it is. But what will happen right now is, even also on those tickets with late returns, we'll show exactly what actions we take, what we have taken for status of each of the tickets.
Okay. So Michael has actually clarified what he meant by his question previously. He wasn't talking about referral credits. He was talking about discount codes and like coupons that guests use to book cars, and how we're like basically adjusting the payouts and having to pay the two different amounts. So he's asking, why isn't this just handled by DM so that I would be paid the rental fee and then the credit is
yes, but that is exactly where right now with the whole monthly payments, that is then resolved, because So let's say if you have your car and you have $50 per day and you've rented it for 3 days, you will receive $150. Now, what is happening right now in the system? So not with the monthly payments, it could be that somebody rented your car for 3 days for $50 per day, but they had a $20 discount. Then you will receive only 130, and then that $20 will be paid separately. Now, what we'll do with monthly payments, we can consolidate it ourselves, and send you the payment on what it needs to be. So what you will see is basically on your statement, 3 days, $50 is $150, and that's what you're going to be paid. So that problem that is there right now on promotional and discount promotions and discounts, that is not there with the monthly statements and payments.
Simon has said, Christmas is around the corner. Holiday season is normally peak booking period of the year. Could you advise where the advertising promotion is happening? Are we going all out on Google AdSense? My cars are in Metro Melbourne over 3-4 months, have had a total of 2 bookings between them. The demand is vastly different from UCS previously. Oh, Ben, I can see did you want to answer that?
No. I think you'd be the best person to answer that, seeing as you run our Google and our Facebook.
Yeah. In terms of demand, we're seeing demand grow basically week on week, apart from maybe 1 week. So that's for the last like 2 to 3 months. So it's ramping up, and we're seeing peak booking period like starting. So what we see in terms of cars and car demand, that's a bit surprising that you've only received 2 bookings between them. We've been in contact with lots of hosts, and I'm a host, so we've seen decent bookings. So possibly there's something else going on. To answer your question, we are increasing our advertising on Google, on Facebook. We're increasing investment on SEO, which is like the organic, where you show up organically on Google. And then we're increasing our reaching out to our existing guest list, basically just giving them tons of promotions to say, hey, here's really good reasons to come back and book cars. And we're seeing that that's working. So I'd be happy to have a look at your listings and just maybe see if there's something that could be improved. But in general, demand shouldn't really be a problem right now.
I just said the same, Joel. I just sent that host my email and said, send us a link to your listings and we'll have a look and see if there's anything that we can see that might be a barrier.
Yep. Anthony is saying, should I see bookings in the Insights tab currently? I'm just going to open it up now.
You want to share?
I don't think we're tracking. I've just got it on my phone, but we're not tracking. We don't show bookings on the Insights tab, just the earnings estimate right now. But I think that is something that's going to be changing in this new update. Is that true, Dokyan?
No, I think it's still earnings. You mean earnings and expected earnings, you mean? That is what is in the end. Like if right now you have for $200 earnings and you expect yet another $200, let's say, so the total earnings is 400, what we expect as of now. That's what you want to know, I assume, or
yeah,
right?
I believe so. I think the question Anthony's trying to say is, like right now you can see the earnings estimated for a month, like because of the bookings that are already existing. But I think Anthony is saying, is that going to be broken down into the component bookings? Or is it going to be just left as
we have the data, so we could do that, but we don't have that right now planned.
I think probably for right now, the data that Anthony's looking for is probably what's going to be on the monthly statement, where it's going to be broken down.
Yeah, on the monthly statement it will be. So on the monthly statement you will see John rented your car for 3 days. This is what you've earned. Another person booked your car for 2 days, and this is what you've earned. And then the whole list together, you see what the total earnings are for duration, and you also see how many kilometers were, how much they got charged, and you get paid out for per kilometer. How many referral bonuses you've received, fuel reimbursements, and then you'll see what the total earnings are. So on the monthly statements, it's there. Right now, the question was, how I understand it, is also on the inside step. Can it also be split per trip? I mean, theoretically, we certainly can, because we're building it up right now from all these individual trips. So we can. But what we have done right now is we look at an expected earning for each of these trips. Yeah,
Yep.
based on, it's just summed up.
Okay. Stephen's got a question about if he relocates a car away from his home address, if unfortunately that car gets stolen, does the owner get some kind of a notification about the car being moved from its, let's say, home zone, or what will happen there?
If it's during a trip or between trips, yeah.
I think probably between trips.
Yeah, so now I assume also that car will have an auto plug-in, which I don't know if that is the case, but if it's the case, one thing we can check is we could say that when the car is moving, when it's not on a booking, and then share it with you, but there is nothing for in between booking that we that we know if it's stolen, because maybe you would have taken it yourself, right? In that sense, but
Yeah.
we know when the car is moving.
Yeah, I think this might be referring to like the UCS magic blockout type of system, which is definitely something that we have been talking about. So that's probably something that could be on the roadmap.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. We'll go to Sandy. If a car is unreturned, will the next guest see the exact location of the car, or will they see an automated message like the car is not in home zone? Please
Yeah,
contact.
that second is what it needs to be. And Sandy, and yeah, you shared it, right? Right now, there's a way around it that the next guest can see, and that's not what it should be. So yes, it needs to be that they just see that the car is not in home location.
Yep.
Let me check if that is also right now fixed straight away.
Yep. What is the turnaround time for 2.0 support? Can you publish updates every week on the average time it will take to close similar complaints and the turnaround time for insurance claims, etc.?
Yeah, so you have damage claims, and so with insurance or without insurance, and of course we have non-damage claims. So those non-damage claims, I think we'll get much more clarity, I would say, in the coming weeks, because on Wednesday we brought the new ticketing system live. So that means right now we'll see pretty quickly how we are on that and get a much better handle of it.
Anthony's mentioned the magic blockouts like we were talking about before, so I'll just skip that one. Remy is talking about the guest cannot drop the car off outside of the home zone, but I think we were talking about that previously. You answered that, Dirk-Jan. So will historical statements consolidate these previous credits? Sorry, Michael, I'm not sure what you're talking about there.
Maybe it's the same, like the promos and discounts, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all standardized. It's all the same. You see the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. Yep.
I assume one thing, sorry, is Michael, you have and you're not the only one, by the way, a challenge with reconciliation because of all the different trips, trip IDs, promotions, there's a link to it and different payments that you've received. How do we make sure it's all there? Right now on these monthly statements, you can see that pretty strict.
Yep. Kalyani has said she's requested Odo plug installation in Sydney area, and it's been about 10 days. Can you advise on the lead time for those kind of requests? How long do you know?
Actually, we're not behind. So I thought that we were not behind because we have everything up to date as far as I understand. Have you received, so I assume right now that you've not received an email also or a message from us about it. So a message will be sent when the car is or is not eligible. So that is number one. And then you'll receive a week in advance, let's say a week before we can install it, receive a message that we want to install it on a certain date. So I don't know about your specific case, but maybe also for that one, if you could share your the rego, and we can check it out.
Yep, cool. Joseph has said, can someone return a car and not return the key in the lockbox? And what would be like a penalty when that happens? Yeah.
Yeah, that is possible. That is possible, and it's I mean that should not be right, but that is possible. That also happened with Uber in the past, where people could do that, and the penalty there, and
I
I
think that
don't
would
know.
just be like and that wouldn't be counted as dropping off the car, right? That would be just like,
Yes, but you don't know, right? If they have locked the car and locked the lockbox, you mean if they have a lockbox, for example, and
yeah.
they don't put the key in the lockbox, but they do everything else. They lock the lockbox, they put it on the window, but they don't put the key in. That is something that yeah, that is a possibility. I don't know right now what we have as a penalty there. We can get back to you on that, but we of course try to put a penalty in such a way that it deters people, all right? And we don't want people to do that, but yeah, it is a possibility.
Something that I'm working on that I haven't mentioned to hosts before, I call it Respect 2.0. Which is just looking at all of the guest communications from the start of their booking right through to when they drop the car back, and just seeing where we can tighten things up to try and get guests to do the right thing, to extend rather than just being late, to do the fuel, the cleaning, everything, all these things that we want guests to do. We are looking at the penalty rate card for those. And we'll make that clear to hosts, what the compensations are, but we're also going to make it clearer to guests. So we're working on a flow of communications with guests that will very nicely remind them or tell them that there will be penalties ask them to do A, and nicely say, if you don't do A, then the penalty will be B, and so on. So we're working really hard to improve guest behavior. The new system will automate a lot of that. So, some of that guest behavior will be less of an issue. But look, we do know it's an issue. We know that not everyone's cars are being treated perfectly, and not everyone's filling up, and they're not extending the right way. So we're working on that, I promise. And there's a couple of, I'm just sort of trying to group some of these questions. There's still a lot of questions about monthly statements. I think, guys, just sit tight until you get your December monthly statements, and then we'll do another one of these sessions with a focus on statements. And anything that, when you look at your December statement, anything that isn't clear, we will take on board and see if we can rectify for your January statement. That's I don't think we can't, without a sample statement in front of us on this call. That's going to be hard. Maybe we'll see if we can. We'll decide tomorrow when we do the next one of these, whether it's next week or in 2 weeks, and we'll see if we can have a sample statement on the screen so that you can see. And I think that will answer questions way better than we can here on the fly.
Steven has said if key is returned, the guest has access to key indefinitely. Potentially the keys would need to be reprogrammed. I'm not sure what that's.
If the key is returned, but then it's returned, right? So basically, if they put it in the lockbox, then you as a host, you have the key again.
I think he might have meant if the key is not returned.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Andrew said, I've had a car returned without the lockbox and the key left on top of a tire. There was no penalty given to the borrower for this.
Oh. And you did you as a host, I assume you reported that? Because that should be. I mean, that should be. I mean, there is also just a policy for if that happens like that, so that if the lockbox is gone and that happened during a trip, then the guest needs to pay. So I'm not sure why that would be. One thing I do know is, and this is a thing what we try to automate more and more and more, but a dispute handling, that is, we have people that are doing it. We have the policies, they need to follow those policies. There could have been a manual error. I'm not sure about this specific case, but yeah, we need to penalize people if there are certain things. And by the way, I just want to share also if you feel that certain policies, once you've read them, and when we have sent you the updated T&Cs, if you think that maybe certain things can be improved, then just let us know. Doesn't mean that we would change everything, but there could be certain things like the example that you just gave, like, oh, lockbox is gone, key on the tire. What should we do about it? Yeah, we are pretty clear about if people do not return certain things that, like a lockbox, that there's a penalty for it. So I don't know what happened in the specific case. Maybe you could share it with us, or you can later on, at least, which also helps other people as well, if we have T&Cs, to just have a look at where you feel there are some gaps.
Sandy's got an interesting idea here about basically shutting down the communication line through the app between the host and the guest after 7 to 14 days after the trip is completed. Because she has had some angry guests, basically, once they receive notification of a charge for whatever reason. Then they basically use that communication to harass the host.
Yeah, that's a good point, which we don't have yet as part of the plan, but that's something that we should be able to do. So yeah, let us just list it down as a point, and then that is something we can work on.
Yeah. And then I guess in like a crazy case where someone's forgotten something important in the car and it's been over 14 days or something and they haven't thought to reach out, they can always go through support, and then support can reach out in that kind of a case. So it's not like a full lockdown. Joseph has said, can host speak to resolution team regarding a complaint? I've been trying to request a call from the resolution team about a payout for over a month now. But he's not basically getting a call. So.
Yeah. These are, of course, the things that we want, and also at the same time don't want to hear. We don't want to hear that the team is not responding on time, but we've heard it, and we know that it's one of the things that we must resolve, and also something that is very high on the list, certainly with the new ticketing system where we do so. But still, a month right now is really bad. If you could share what the situation is, we can have a look at it. One thing I just want to emphasize is, with this new ticketing system and looking at the status in the app, that is something that we really need to work on as a group, both hosts and drive mates, so we can just be, and guests, so we can just make sure that that things are being handled and the team can work on specific cases. That is an extremely important, but maybe for this specific case right now for a month, or maybe you can share the details and we can look at what's happening.
Brett has said the GPS visibility is blocked as soon as the booking time has come, regardless of whether the borrower has collected or not. He has had bookings that use the remote lockbox that get the key, but do not complete the pickup. So he doesn't get a pickup request, and he has no way of knowing if they have had issues with the app or whether they have even collected the car.
Yeah, that is certainly a problem. That is certainly a problem. I think the one thing right now with this with the new pickup and drop-off process, it is right now required also for a guest, if there's keyless access, that they follow the pickup process, otherwise they cannot access the car. That's the one thing. But what we do, and so what you say is correct. What we currently do is we show GPS location only between trips. So that means if there is a scheduled pickup, that is right now the trigger basically to not show that anymore. And possibly this should change from the variable of scheduled pickup to the actual pickup in system, that you cannot see it anymore. That is a good point. Right now we have used that variable, right? We look at the scheduled pickup time, but maybe that should change to actual pickup.
Yep. Rob has a question. How are guests being notified about the new Uber car share, or like the kilometers plus daily rate pricing? He's asking if existing guests who have made a booking will be emailed.
The booking won't change. Bookings won't change.
But maybe you can still share
but
or Ben what we plan to do from a marketing point of view.
when we change over, if people have, I think for the most part, a lot of the guests have a lot of the guests have probably come from Uber car share and probably are used to this kind of pricing model. So from that point of view, we're not expecting that it will be a massive hurdle for guests, but we will be communicating to them that the change has happened and that to kind of expect it, I suppose, when you land on a booking page. So yeah, that will be taken care of, I suppose. Ben, do you want to add anything to that?
Just that we will our database obviously show guests who have made bookings and who haven't made bookings, and anyone who hasn't made a booking, we're not going to make a huge hoo-ha about the new system because they don't know the current system. We will just make it clear when they book what is the process, and the listings page and the search pages will be clear how that car is priced. Guests who have already booked, we will do a separate EDM to explain the changes and to say, hey, new look drive, mate, we hope it works for you. This is what's changed.
Yep. Got another question here about that locking the car after the trip. So like you do the drop-off process, but the car wasn't locked previously to that. So like being able to control lock and unlock.
There's a ton of questions around locking and unlocking, and locking at the end of a trip. I think let's take that offline. I think that's something that we need to have a really careful think about and make sure that is absolutely tighter for when 2.2 launches. We're not going to spend the next 3 days trying to fix the current system. We're going to be brutally honest, but we will and we'd be working on making 2.0 as good as possible. And by the way, it doesn't just stop at 2.0 and we go, thank you very much, we're off to the pub. There will be 2.2, 2.1, and then 2.2. it will still constantly keep evolving. It's just a bigger step forward this week. But we hear you. We know locking is not good enough, and we're working on that.
Sandy's got a great point about tickets, particularly for hosts with a lot of tickets kind of like in their inbox, I suppose, about being able to filter tickets by car or issue. So that's definitely something that I'll pass on to see if we can have that functionality. Also, I mean, if we can just get rid of a lot of the tickets, that will help the infinite scroll as well. But thanks, Sandy. JP has said, can you create a video of the workflow for the app so to show steps for what it actually looks like on the app to collect, extend, return, etc.?
We have
like
all of
for
those.
dummies. Yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they're being used. So we maybe we can get a little bit better at sharing those with guests as they book. But we do have little how-to videos. There's a whole, I would urge any host that hasn't gone to our YouTube channel to go and have a look. And there's a section there's a set of videos for hosts and a set of videos for for guests. Definitely worth everyone on this call watching the host videos, and Joel and I will have a think about maybe serving some of those videos to guests. A lot of them will have to be remade as part of 2.0, but that's okay. We're good at making videos, so yeah, leave that one with us.
But
Yeah.
also for the host, interesting to see what the guest is doing, obviously, right? Because then you can help, because I can imagine that sometimes guests will reach out to you like, hey, what should I do here? And if you also know exactly how it works from the guest perspective, then that makes it probably easier. Although the guest should actually contact us in that sense that we can try to help. But yeah, you know that they sometimes will contact you as well. So if you know how the app works, let us just share with you those videos so you can see how a guest would see it.
Yep. Brett's got a point that he'd like to raise about verification. So he's saying verification is his biggest issue. The time it takes is too long when they can walk into a car hire business and get a car straight away. My neighbor was declined and has given up. So I guess what are our plans around verification timeline of putting in your verification to being able to...
Two separate things that I'm hearing. One is verification time, and then the example that was given is my neighbor was declined. So declined from our perspective, and of course, I don't know what the reason is for this specific, but decline means we have verified it, but we didn't accept it, right? So for whatever reason, there are a couple of criteria of checks that we do, yeah, so that could be that yeah, we verified, but it's not a positive one. And I have received a couple of messages that I saw in our system as well from people that say, hey, I've tried to your verification team is bad, they don't do anything, and I'm declined. Okay. And then we checked why are they declined, and maybe that person, for example, try to register 3 times different with 3 different email addresses, but it's the same person, and we declined it, and we kept declining. And that means our team has done a good job because they basically weeded out that person, and we never know, right? So that is one thing. When we decline things, that is possible, and that's also when you do checks, you can decline certain people, right? Now, and then the second is that declining that person. Was that the right thing, or should he have gone through? Yeah, possibly, and we don't know. We have certain criteria, and we look at it, and we have that pretty tight, and try to tighten that even more. Which right now, why we say verification 2.0, we have looked at some extra learnings also over the last 3 months. What we can do, and that's basically how it is verification time point of view. Yeah, that's something that we can easily check, like how many people registered and how many do we resolve. As far as I know, I don't think that we have a backlog there. in verifications. But if any one of you feels like, hey, I have somebody that is supposed to be verified and has really not been verified, yeah, then we'd like to know, because then you can check. But we always look at certain metrics like what's the average handling time and verification time, basically. And that is right now not out of the ordinary. So I don't know. Maybe we might have overlooked someone. I'm not sure about it. But yeah, we'd like to know if there are specific cases. Just let us know.
Yep, I think we've got to most of them. There's a lot of duplicate questions. Andrew, you posted a couple of transactions. I'm not quite sure what we were going to get out of that. Oh, when a payout has been modified, how can we view the modification details? I assume that's not talking about like trip modifications. Andrew, is this talking about like inconvenience fees and extra charges, that kind of thing? And then in the meantime, oh, Andrew's saying I believe so. So I mean, I think that's probably going to be one of the things that's rolled up into the monthly statements. So if we can wait and see the monthly statement, and then if there's feedback on that, if that's fair.
Yeah, let's do a deep dive into statements on the next one of these calls.
Yeah.
We will
I think
another one.
Yeah.
We will do another one of these before Christmas. Date TBC. And I think we'll bring a sample statement to that, and we'll go into that then, rather than keep going now on statements.
Sorry, I was reading questions. I didn't hear what you said there, Ben.
You can share a statement or a sample statement as well. You can see what's on there, and otherwise it will come end of December for your own actual statements for the previous months. Oh, sorry, I see also one question on with UCS that the kilometers are not correct. Maybe not so that actually the kilometers were more than what UCS said they were. Now we did test the GPS says the auto plugs, and it's really accurate. So we have seen that the accuracy is really good. Odometer versus the GPS. We use the GPS for auto calculation, so that's basically what it is.
Well, all right, guys, let's wrap there. There's some big takeaways for us that aren't things that aren't on our roadmap. Magic blockout seems to be a big one. Now we're getting close to the UCS system, so that we've taken that on board. Locking cars is obviously a big one. Statements is a big one. We've told you what we're going to do there. So I think let's wrap for tonight, and we'll let you know in the next couple of days when we'll do one more of these before Christmas, because I'm sure that there will be a ton of questions around 2.0. We will be sending one if not more EDMs around DriveMate 2.0, so you will know as soon as that goes live, and we hope it goes well.
Yeah. Can I? And so I just want to. I see some people that say that I'm reading it right now. That questions are not answered. I think, as Ben just said, for certain things that are all around a certain topic, and that means, let's say, the statements, we'll take care of that in a next call. I think specific I also see a message about a specific cases. Yeah, that's something that for the group here is maybe not adding value to everyone, but that does not mean that we are not interested in them. I think David, you sent something about a specific case. Just share it with us, and then we'll have a look. I think we want to resolve all the cases as we do. Obviously, as per the timing, what we've said, as per the timing that we said we would. We know that we had a backlog, and we are working on them. We have released a new ticketing system that will help us to get much more clarity and also resolve tickets much faster. But if there's something specific on a trip, then just share it with us, and we can have a separate look at it and get back to you. In the end, right now with this change of the ticketing system, that status will be clear in the system. So that's also how what the way forward is. But for these things, it's not that we don't want to answer certain questions. So please share that. I don't know if there's anything else that we have seen, but if there are certain questions that we've not answered today, what we will do is we will come up with a communication piece about what we've seen today. We also have written down a whole list of things, questions, suggestions that we'll work on, and we'll keep you informed on what we do. So let us get back to you, soonest on that. Thanks very much. If there's anything else, please share, and otherwise we'll see you shortly.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. See you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.